March day in Massachusetts, when the second-rate poet from Chicago went shopping, he was only dressing for a comfortable night out with a girlfriend. Well, let's start that again. What he was really doing was he didn't know he would have a girlfriend yet. So what he was doing was he was dressing and thinking, how is this going to look on stage this evening? He was vain that way. Likewise, when she of Belmont, Massachusetts wore that cleavage-clinging pink halter top and ultra-tight pair of black pants, you know, the outfit that screams, damn it, I'm a feminist with a master's degree in education and I demand that men respect me for my mind. Yes, that one. She was only dressing for a comfortable night out with a friend who flaked on her at the last moment, leaving her to go out alone. She was not used to going anyplace by herself. She'd never been to a poetry reading before, and she almost didn't go this time, but then she did. She surprised us that way. They did not expect to meet, much less fall into one another and begin to walk that razor blade thin, spider web frail line that's sometimes built between two people on the verge of finding one another interesting. He was a man who had a rather profound liking for the ladies. All of them. Though he was surprisingly shy about women, especially that night. She, while being from Massachusetts and thus a member of the Frozen Chosen, was not used to starting conversations with anyone, much less second-rate poets from Chicago. But she was a little more forward than usual, especially that night. And somehow, though this is apocryphal as stories tend not to corroborate, they generally agree that both of them eventually wound up at IHOP. And over a cup of coffee and a shared rooty-tooty, fresh and fruity, he thought, maybe. And she thought, maybe. As for you, well, you were not yet you. That is to say, you were you, potentially, but not yet this ever-parasitic tsunami of new discovery fueled by laughter and lactation, leaving broken drinking glasses and ruined CDs in your wake. No, you were somewhere else, not quite there, a small curved question mark, faint and forming at the end of some egg named future. Then they loved, and it was good. So they loved again, and again. And during the August of one of those agains, the part of you that had been singing softly and alone inside of him began to sense the part of you that was singing softly and alone inside of her, which began to sense the part of you singing softly and alone inside of him. And both of those soft, alone songs began to find each other, and when they did, they began to grow and swell into one song. You. And when the growing and the swelling and the singing were done, you were lifted from out of the soft dark of her, lifted into light, into scream, into breath. After that, he took you into an empty room. And while no one could see the two of you, he looked upwards at the ceiling and imagined the fluorescent lights to be some ocean of greater light spread and stretching out endlessly above a land that smelled of salt water and village song. And as must have happened in the lands from which your ancestors came, he brought you close and trembling to his chest, whispered in your ear what your name would be, thanked his now dead ancestors for your safe passage, then asked for strength and guidance from whatever hand authored this.